I think you brought up a really interesting point. A few actually, especially around this whole contactless and this phobia that's starting to emerge in terms of people's kind of behaviors now. And I'm curious to know, like, now that you've observed kind of that new behavior that's emerging, I was wondering if you have any like thoughts about how these behaviors are maybe like affecting the way how people are living and working right now compared to 6 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of a home office, um, the adoption curve for things like Zoom and WebEx and Skype. I mean, it's like a straight vertical line now. It's just everybody is being forced to use them. It's the same with this idea of homeschooling. Um, so many teachers just hated the idea of moving their classes online, and that suddenly they were forced to do it, and they've quickly adapted to it. And a lot of them are saying, "Wow, this is much easier than I thought." And it works better than I thought it would. And working from home definitely has its advantages, but in certain situations it has a lot of disadvantages. If you have kids at home, that's not a great situation. Um, so so there's pluses and minuses with all of this as we're going along. An interesting shift in all this is that people can suddenly work whenever they want to. And some people are choosing to work in the middle of the night. And so we're kind of migrating towards 24/7 culture, which is kind of interesting because we just have no definitive start and stop times anymore. There's some things that seem more normal than others, but the idea that businesses could then adapt this 24/7 culture and be willing to deliver pizzas at 2 a.m. in the morning, or Chinese food at 4 a.m. in the morning, just because some people are up working god awful hours.
Yeah.
That I find that to be such a curious transition that we might be going through. Now, the way futurists work is we look for all these weak signals. We look for weak signals of what's changing, and those things I would consider to be weak signals at this point, but somehow they have some sort of resonance. It seems like there's a ring of truth to them that somehow seems like that might be a strong possibility. So this idea of our work culture shifting in ways that we never imagined before, I think that's distinctly possible.
Yeah, no, it seems like that's going to be a real game changer in terms of what the future of the home will look like, if that's part of people's lives and how they work. Yeah,
so certainly if you do everything interacting with a computer in your work life, you design a home specifically for that application. If suddenly you have this whole bank of 3D printers that you're working with, and you have inventory and stock, and you're mailing stuff out all the time, you have little delivery bots taking it to the post office, then that's a whole different kind of home then. But as we move into a driverless world, suddenly we no longer need our garages anymore. And those garages can be repurposed in lots of different ways. In the past, we always talked about remodeling them as Airbnb rentals, which is still entirely possible. But now maybe we have anxiety over having other people coming into our home and all that. So
yeah.
So we'll have to see how Airbnb survives this whole mess.